The storm came without warning. The night sky, once calm, turned into a battlefield of roaring winds and piercing snow. A deadly blizzard swept across the countryside, shutting down roads, freezing rivers, and burying homes under mountains of ice. In a small wooden house at the edge of town, a single dad sat by the fire with his little daughter. He was used to being alone, raising her by himself, keeping her safe from a world that often felt too harsh. But on this night, destiny had other plans. Around midnight, a thunderous pounding rattled the front door. The father hesitated, holding his daughter close. Who could be out there in such a storm? Slowly, he opened the door and froze in shock. Standing before him were 20 men. Rough. Fierce. Bikers, their jackets covered in patches, their faces scarred by the roads they'd ridden. Their boots stomped snow onto his porch, and their leader, a giant with eyes cold as steel, stepped forward. "We need shelter," he said, his voice low but firm. The dad had every reason to slam the door shut. These men looked dangerous, like outlaws who lived by their own rules. But behind the tattoos and leather, he saw something else: exhaustion, desperation, and the raw bite of the storm. Without a second thought, he opened the door wider. He didn't ask names, didn't ask why, he simply said, "Come in." One by one, the bikers entered, shaking off the blizzard. His small home became crowded, filled with the smell of leather, oil, and melting snow. All night long, he gave them what little he had. Blankets. Hot soup. A warm place by the fire. His daughter, frightened at first, soon realized these giants weren't monsters. They laughed softly, shared stories of the road, and even carved little toys for her from scraps of wood. The father didn't know it then, but this simple act, opening his door to strangers, was about to change his life forever. By dawn, the storm had passed. The bikers geared up, their engines rumbling in the cold morning air. The leader shook the dad's hand firmly. "You didn't have to help us," he said, "but you did. We don't forget things like that." With that, they roared off into the distance, leaving only tire tracks in the snow. The father thought it was over. Just a strange night that would fade into memory. He was wrong. The next afternoon, a new sound filled the valley. A deep, thunderous roar. At first, the dad thought it was the storm returning, but it wasn't the wind. It was engines. Dozens of them. The ground shook. His daughter ran to the window, her eyes wide. "Daddy," she whispered, "they're back." But it wasn't just 20 bikers this time. It was an army. 120 motorcycles lined the road in front of his house, stretching farther than he could see. The men who had stayed the night had returned, but they hadn't come alone. They had brought their entire brotherhood. A wall of leather, chrome, and roaring machines. The father's heart pounded. Was this trouble? Was his kindness ABO?